everyone. So just doing a quick check-in. I've been mulling over in my head what the most appropriate way to do these videos is as far as the order or what people might want to know. So I think it'd be most appropriate to start from the beginning and kind of walk you through the process of how study abroad works. So I think we'll start with the simple stuff. First off, you have to decide if study abroad is what you want to do. There's some things to think about when considering this. You have to consider that there is money that has to be put out before you leave. Usually not an excess, but there is some, so you have to consider that. You have to consider the programs that you would be willing to do. So how far are you willing to go away from home? For how long? You need to decide what semester would be most appropriate for you to go to study abroad. There are multiple programs. You can do a summer program, just like you would in any other college setup. There's fall semester, spring semester, and summer semester. Now, given those semesters are going to lay out a little differently, likely than what you are used to as far as the time frame goes and whether or not there's breaks and so on, because you're in a different country, so they're not necessarily going to be celebrating the same holidays or breaks that we would have here in the U.S. So those are a few quick things to consider before even deciding if you want to study abroad. After you've considered those things, you probably need to get onto your university's website and just do a search of study abroad for whatever university that you're going to. Likely that page is going to give you a brief description of how the program works, but there's probably going to be a contact email address or name on that site. And once you find that contact, it is best to just possibly reach out to them. Likely what's going to happen is they are going to get back in touch with you. They may ask if there's a specific area that you're thinking of, time frame you're thinking of, etc. And I know for myself, we did a Study Abroad 101. I did mention that in a previous video. It's pretty quick. It's about an hour long. That was just for my university. I can't speak for other universities, but I would assume that they have some sort of introduction meeting of sorts. And so once you have done that initial contact with that person, they are likely to supply you with some directions on where to find the programs that you are potentially interested in. Now, being unfamiliar with study abroad, when I say programs, I know for me, I was like, what do they mean by that? Well, what that means is, and again, mentioned in the previous video, it's usually not your university who does all of the arrangements for study abroad. They are somewhat of a home base for the initial information, but once you've gotten the initial information from them and to them, you have what is called a program provider. That is the person who actually, not the person, it's the entity that actually sets everything up. So likely your study abroad advisor at your university is going to give you some direction on where to find those different programs, where to find the dates, where to find the, like if you have a specialty that you are thinking about, whatever your major is, you'll be able to go onto this site, possibly that is sent to you by your study abroad advisor, and you'll be able to go through there and determine, number one, consider this, can I afford it? Number two, consider how long is it? how long of a program do you want to do? Consider, can I handle being away from my family, friends, support system, whatever that is, where you currently are. And then a few other things to consider are the language. Do you want to learn a language? Most study abroad programs are going to require you to take at least one class that is like an introduction to whatever language is spoken in the country that you're going to. Most study abroad programs do have one or more required classes that you have to take, and then the rest you get to choose from a list of what they offer for their study abroad program. More often than not, it is not going to be like your home university where you have a choice from the entire catalog of classes. It's going to be a certain number of classes that they offer for that specific university. So once you get to a place where you have found the program providers and the programs, oftentimes there's filters you can use, and I would highly suggest you use them, or you will spend an immense amount of time. You'll waste a lot of time looking at programs that are not even applicable to what it is that you want to do. So those filters, again, importance is the time frame, the semester you want to go, the cost, the major, so on and so forth, because you certainly don't, if you are a sociology major, you don't want to go to a university abroad that is offering, excuse me, I don't know, STEM programs, math programs, things like that. So you have to do your research, and it's fun. That's the fun part of all of it. So once you've done those initial things, and that's going to take some time, getting in touch with the study abroad advisor and things like that, that doesn't take time. Determining what programs are applicable to you is the big thing. Again, a lot of this is a personal choice. I mean, obviously we're looking at academics here, but there's a piece of it that you have to personally know whether or not you're capable of doing it. And later on in the process, they will ask you questions about whether or not you're able to do it. So it's important to consider when you're first looking at the programs for study abroad, what things physically, emotionally, and mentally you are able to do or believe you could do. I know for myself, there was some convincing that had to happen internally, where I had to tell myself, okay, are you able to be, and for myself, since I'm non-traditional, I do have children, they are grown, but can I handle being away from my children? Can I, if someone were to pass while I was gone, can I handle that? If I have a spouse, we've been together for 6 years, can I be away from my spouse for that long? And I'm really grateful. I have a spouse that is extremely supportive and encouraging and thinks that this is an absolutely necessary thing for me, as I would hope any spouse would be. My family did have struggles with it, but I'm going to cover that in another video. But first things first, get on your university's website. See if they offer study abroad. I can, as a side note, there are some community colleges that offer study abroad. Not all, but there are some that offer community colleges. So if you're a community college student, make sure you check into that. If not, when you transfer to a four-year university, if you're planning on doing that, study abroad is available to you the first semester that you are in the university. So again, another thing I'll talk about in another video, but there's your starting point. Get on your university's website and do a search for study abroad and see what comes up.